Hi everyone, and welcome to another great car here on the Car Reviews Podcast with CollectorCarCanada.CA. Today we have a 2005 Mazda RX-8 four-door coupe. This is going to be lot 255 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. A couple of interesting distinctions for this car is that we are launching it on a Thrifty Thursday. So this is a Thrifty Thursday car, which means we get cars from time to time that are not turnkey. They need a few things, like a thrifty new owner who is thrifty in that maybe he's going to save a couple bucks in buying it. So this car is a Thrifty Thursday, and it's no reserve. No reserve on this 2005 Mazda RX-8. And another interesting thing about it is that it's part of our white glove service. So the owners of such cars basically give us the keys and we do the rest. So when people have got bigger things in their mind, maybe they're selling a house, downsizing, something like that, we negotiate a percentage in advance, and that's how we collect our fee from them. We negotiate a fee in advance, and it's always a no reserve.
So being that we are handling the sale on this one, we are really hoping for some showings on the car. All of our cars are available to be shown. You just use the contact seller button on the listing.
We're in a public place. We are patriotic Canadians at Collector Car Canada, and today we are on the grounds of the Canadian National Exhibition. To my right and behind, to the back right of the car, is BMO Field, where TFC and the Toronto Argonauts play their home games. So, like we always do, I'm going to give this car a start. We'll take a listen to the engine and exhaust and go from there. So here we go with the startup. So it fired right up. Another interesting distinction for this car is that it has been inspected. The inspection happened immediately before we're shooting this video. So I haven't seen the written inspection report. We're going to have it on lot 255 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. But I did get the inspector's remarks. He was happy with the car. He said he got a lot of looks actually as he was driving it around on his test drive. It did throw 3 or 4 codes, and those are going to be in his report, but he called them minor, and I'll address some imperfections on the car as we go through the video. So I'll hop out of the car now, and we'll take a look at and listen to the engine. Okay, so I've moved the car to get the last of the day's light. The Formula Red really does look sharp in the bright light. The golden hour, as the photographers call it, the last of the light. So we'll zoom right in on the engine now. And I'll get in close to that belt and we can have a listen. So despite the car being one of our white gloves, I did get a chance to speak to the owner, and he told me that although the car shows modifications, the only performance modification is this air intake, K&N air filter. One other thing that really jumps out at me is this stabilizer bar, which of course assists with handling. And I've been driving the car for a couple days, getting it cleaned. That kind of stuff, getting that inspection done. Stuff we do with our white glove service. And yeah, it's a blast to drive. It really handles neat. So one last sound of the engine. And I'll cruise on back to the rear of the car to get a listen to both exhaust pipes. So dual exhaust, one on each side. So that's what the exhaust sounds like. So I'm going to cut the engine now, straighten out that wheel for posterity. And the lights are on as well. I'm not sure if I had the fogs on, but they do work. All the lights work other than bright lights, but I'll get to that. It might be a little tricky getting this hood closed with the prop rod and one hand on the camera, but let's see how I do. No problem at all. It's almost like I've done this before. So again, lot 255 on this 05 Mazda RX-8 four-door coupe. So we'll walk around the car. There are points obvious on the car where some touch-up paint's been applied. We have really good photos of it on the detailed listing for lot 255. I'm not sure how it's going to look on the video, but we'll see soon. Another modification. So otherwise, the modifications, other than that air filter I showed you, otherwise they're all in the exterior of the car. I would call some performance oriented and some cosmetic. So we've got that front air dam and splitter. I would definitely call that performance oriented, and it really does give the car a serious performance look. I really like the look of it in the profile. You might be able to tell from the our photo gallery on lot 255. I got a few different angles of it. These, however, those are just stuck on. So I call those faux air vents because they don't have a function. And then another one, which is on the performance side, the car has been lowered. I wasn't sure, but the inspector seemed very sure that the car's been lowered. And this this side skirt gives it the look of it being lowered even lower, actually. But there's a good look at the profile of the wheel and the tire. And that fender flare, the inspector believes that's on with adhesive, and those are faux bolts. But I think I would call that one a cosmetic modification. Same with this faux vent right here on the C pillar. When we took the car from the owner back on, I guess it's about 4 or 5 days ago now, there was one on each side. When we had it cleaned, we lost the one. Well, we didn't lose it, but it's no longer mounted on the C pillar on the passenger side. We have that. It's in the trunk right now. It'll go with the car. So if the new owner decides he or she wants them on the car, you can re-adhere it, or you can remove the one on the driver's side. So we're getting into the shade now. I think we're getting toward day's end, and the rest of the video we're going to be faced with without direct light, but it might give us an opportunity to get a better look at this paint. So this front bumper cover, I can tell that it's been repaired. You can tell it's not a perfectly smooth surface, and repainted. I'll also point out that although the headlights work, there is some fogginess on the lenses on both lights, but pretty normal for a 2005 model year. Now, at first blush, certainly I was fooled when I first saw the car. I thought these were aftermarket wheels, but as I got closer up, I realized all the black is painted.
And when I saw this emblem, JIL, for passing a Japanese regulatory standard,
that made me think, holy smokes, wait a second, maybe these are original wheels. And with these two holes here on each of the 5 spokes, I realized, hey, these are the factory 18s on an RX-8. They've just been painted to look a little different. They really do look kind of neat as the car's in motion. I got to see the car in motion while the inspector drove it because I didn't join him for the drive. But so despite them looking like an aftermarket wheel, they are stock items, and they can look like stock again if they just get repainted the silvery color. We did include a photo of the stock wheels as they came out of the factory as a stock photo on the detailed listing. Again, lot 255. 2 pairs of tires. So the front tires are by Evergreen, and all 4 tires measure 245 40 ZR18. I believe they're Y rated in the front and V rated on the rear. I might have that in reverse. We've got the facts on the detailed listing. Again, lot 255. Working our way back to the rear wheel. We've got a pair of Victras on the rear. Maxxis Victra, actually, Z4S. And again, the same size, the 245/40 ZR18. The paint all looks pretty good on this side as we work our way around. There's a lot of black trim, and there's a lot, I'd call the exterior red with black trim, and then the interior is more like a black with red trim. And we'll get to that interior after we're done with the exterior, of course, but a black and red theme throughout. So biggest flaw, I guess, with this car, certainly cosmetically, we do see some corrosion bubbling here behind the rear wheel and a little bit fore of the wheel as well. So I'll put my tuning up with that to give you a sense of perspective. And I'll add that I can see some tape lines here. So I think this rust has been repaired before. But again, we're selling this one no reserve. And if, like normal, I'm happy to point out the flaws. I'd rather point them out now than after sale, as I like to say. So working our way back, here's a good view of the rear of the car. The clear taillight lenses with the color on the bulbs, other than the brake lights, I suppose. And then the dual exhaust and the black spoiler. And even a black, I think we call that a yin-yang in the Buddhist faith. So not all bad days are entirely bad, and with every good day, you get a little bit of bad as well. I think that's the meaning of that yin-yang. So working our way around to the passenger side. So I'll point out again these fender flares. They do have what look like bolts, but as I say, the inspector believes those to be adhered on. And we do have the same issue here on the passenger side rear wheel with the bubbling from corrosion. And as well, I think you can see on the screen that there's a clear line of tape where some rust repair and repaint has been done. So there it is with the tuning to give you a sense of the size of it. And a little less on the front of the wheel on this side, but there's some as well. And here is where that faux vent was removed. As I say, it is in the trunk, and it will go with the car. Another imperfection is that on this lower skirt than factory, the red paint's been chipped off and there's some black visible there. And I do see some scraping on the rear wheel here on the passenger side. And working our way forward. This venting is a stock treatment, but it is consistent with that black and red theme. Here's a good look at that side skirt down its profile. And look at the front right wheel with the evergreen tires, 245/40 ZR18 with a Y rating up front. Again, please double check the speed ratings. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's Y up front and V in the rear, but it might be the reverse. And a look at that front splitter profile look from the passenger side as well. So we have a sporty car here. Again, a 2005 Mazda RX-8 with a 6-speed manual. Again, it's being offered at no reserve, and it does come with an inspection. So please take a look at lot 255 and you'll see that inspection report. You can see it's got the sliding sunroof. We've tested that all out. So it tilts and slides, 2 different buttons for 2 different functions. And we have checked that out to ensure that it works. All functions work as designed. So that'll about do us for the exterior. Come join me now as we move to the interior. All right, another look at the profile of this RX-8, and we'll move on in. But before we do, I showed you the engine. I talked a little bit about the dual exhaust and the performance of the car. I left out horsepower rating. Interestingly, I've already mentioned that this one is a 6-speed manual. Interestingly, the automatics from this year were 40 horsepower less than the manuals. So I'm not going to confuse things and mention the automatic transmission's horsepower, but this 6-speed manual was factory rated at 238 horsepower. So when you consider the weight of the car and the small size of it, 238 really gets it around pretty quickly. And it was really something in 05. Of course, we've got bigger horsepower numbers on more modern cars. Now, most manufacturers like to say they're different, and when you really scrape things off, you have a hard time finding how things are different from other cars. This car is different. I mentioned four-door coupe, and one of our younger employees actually took a few photos of it with doors open. He didn't even realize that those rear doors existed. So that's why they call this a four-door coupe. No B-pillar. And we've got some pictures of all four doors open with a profile. So of course you can see right through the car. But those rear doors make things pretty practical for the rear passengers. We've got demos of all the power functions on the detailed listing for lot 255. I'm just moving the seat up now to give you a sense of the room in the rear, the two rear buckets, so it's not a bench. And I'll put that driver's seat back into place because I'm going to be the one who drives away in it. So we do have power locks, power windows, power seat, power mirror, power sunroof. One thing I'll mention is we couldn't get the power lock to operate the passenger door. So that'll need attention, or maybe the new owner is just going to live with it. But I wanted to get that out of the way. There is a Bose audio system in place. There's a big speaker here on the door and a little tweeter up here by the mirror. And I'll climb into the car. You can see the metal pedals. 3 pedals, of course. You've got a manual transmission, and I really love the look of that big dead pedal on the left. Gives you a place to put your feet on those long trips on the highway when you're not shifting gears. I'm just fishing around for the key now because I'd like to light up that dash for you. Here it is. So I do have the doors open. I better get those closed so we're not faced with all the beeping, but I'm going to start the car again just to show off this dash when it lights up. So I'll mention now, this car's under 211,000 kilometers. It's going to go to its new owner at under 211K. You can see that on the right side. In the center, there's a 10,000 RPM max tachometer with a rotary engine. I didn't talk about the rotary engine. Tiny displacement, but it's a whole different system from the normal cylinder setup we're used to. But to get power out of this car, to really use the engine, you gotta rev it up a little higher than you would a typical Japanese sports car of the period with a conventional layout. So the red line's at 8,500, and it's really not exceptional to be driving around this thing in the city, shifting gears at 5,000 and 6,000 RPM. Fuel gauge and temperature gauge, or coolant temperature gauge on the left and on the right, as well as the odometer. There are 2 trip odometers and an oil temperature gauge as well. The speedometer is built into the tachometer pod, and it's a digital speedometer only. You can go back and forth between miles per hour and miles for the odometer to kilometers an hour on the speedo and miles on the odometer. And of course, I'm not wearing a seatbelt right now, and that amber warning light on the left, that denotes that the high beams are not functioning as designed. So that's one item that an Ontario buyer will have to resolve for his safety. And please take a look at the inspector's report to get a sense of one other item that comes to mind. I think there might be the only 2, but let's rely on this inspector to be the pro on there. I don't think I need the engine running anymore. I'll show you the radio display up above. So you can see there's a clock, a radio function display, as well as the HVAC display all together, despite the radio with CD player and the HVAC being a little lower. Car is equipped from the factory with air conditioning. It's not blowing cold. The seller told us he figures it needs a recharge of refrigerant. The inspector didn't check the compressor, but that is a dangling participle on this car, the phrase I like to use for the unknown. So I'm going to cut the engine. Interesting handbrake design. It's kind of like a double handle. Now that I have it in gear, I'm going to put it down, but the top part still juts up forward a bit. Heated buckets here, so as well as being power on the driver's side only, both bucket seats in the front come with heat. The seat for the passenger is manually operated only. And we've got steering wheel mounted controls on the 3-spoke steering wheel for some stereo functions as well as cruise control, as you might expect. So I call this pretty much a fully loaded car. We do have the issue with the power lock on the passenger side, of course, though. Get a good look at the driver's seat. As you'd expect, it is the one that shows the most wear. I don't see any tears, but I do see some wrinkles and a bit of discoloration as well. Factory seat, I'd expect. The original factory RX-8 mats are in place in the front. I don't think the car's got a couple of spare mats in the trunk. Not sure if they're the proper ones for the rear floor or not, but certainly they can be used there. And interesting, for 2005, kind of ahead of its time, side airbags in this car as well. So there's a good look at the rear portion of the cabin. So we've got some cup holders in the console here for the front seat, and then the console for the rear opens up for a little bit of storage as well, and cup holders right there. There's that storage in case I missed it. And then there's even a pass through here to the trunk. So I'm not gonna display that. There are some personal items in the trunk right now, and you can see the trunk, photos of the trunk on our detailed listing for lot 255, but I'm not gonna open it up right now. As I say, there are personal items in there. I demoed the sunroof at the start of the video, so I think I've given you a pretty good tour of the car. Again, it's a 2005 Mazda RX-8 4-door coupe equipped with a 6-speed manual. It's going to go at no reserve on a Thrifty Thursday. So most of our auctions start and end on Tuesday. This one will be 7 days, but we're launching it on a Thursday. And it's going to end on the following Thursday. So the high bidder is going to take this car. No worries about a reserve. And nothing about the second chance or last chance systems on this car. Keen followers of the site will know about second chance and last chance. Arm yourself with information. Check it out on the How It Works page on the website. So one final walk around the car, and we'll move to some closing thoughts. I did take a close look at the rims on the passenger side, and I did show the rash we see on the rear passenger. Let's get close up on the driver's side. I didn't take a good look at those for you, but here on the driver's rear wheel, I don't see any scuffing or curb rash. And then here on the front driver's, I'd say it's clean as well. So we'll just move around to the front. One last look at the snarl of the 05 RX-8. In our photo gallery, you'll see some pictures of the car with a decorative Japanese license plate. We don't have it on right now. It's in the trunk of the car, and it's going to go with the car in case anyone liked the looks of that from the photo gallery. So I thought it'd be fun to show you the car with all 4 doors open, and while I was at it, I opened the trunk lid and the hood. So again, we've got maybe I'll step away so you can see through the car. It's always kind of fun to look through a car with no pillar. So again, for this car, it's going to be lot 255 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. It's a Thrifty Thursday car, so do take a look at the inspector's report. Thrifty Thursday launching on Thursday and finishing on the final Thursday. And because this car has no reserve, we know that it's going to sell 7 days after it begins. So a little more about the car. It's a 2005 Mazda RX-8 with a 6-speed transmission. It's equipped with the Wankel rotary engine, producing 238 horsepower. And the mileage on this car is under 211,000 kilometers. So it's going to go to its new owner with under 211K. And as I say, this car's been inspected. Take a look at the inspector's report to get a sense of condition. The inspector liked it. The most fun part, I don't know if he's going to put this into his report, but for me, when he returned with the car, he told me he was getting all kinds of looks with this red and black themed Mazda RX-8. There was one thing I wanted to do in the video, and I'm realizing I forgot. Being that the car's rotary engine, there are all kinds of evidence of a rotor theme. So I'm going to move to those with the camera in my hand. So the rotor inside the engine that turns is somewhat a triangular shape. So we see the triangular shape on the hood. Can't really see it back here because it's behind the license plate, but there is one in there. You can almost see it with the way I climb down. And then we see the rotor theme on both seats, both front seats, that is, driver, and there's the passenger. And it's not the rotor theme, but the circular CD theme, which would have been really cool back in 2005. And then the last rotor themed evidence I see is here on the rear sort of grate in between the two exhaust pipes. So that's going to do it for this video. Again, lot 255, no reserve, Thrifty Thursday, 2005 Mazda RX-8 with under 211,000 kilometers and a 6-speed manual transmission for 238 horsepower. Thank you for watching, and on to the next car.